morning, everybody, and welcome to Against the Public for August 2nd. I'm Dana Lane. Today, we're going to go through my top Major League Baseball free plays, and then we're going to wrap things up with an answer to a preseason football question and a college football question. That's pretty good. So we'll go through that. And you guys are getting really good with the questions. We've gone through, we've gone through records with the full moon is out, and today we're going to talk about altitude. Really good question. So after the show, please go to Pickdawgz.com, where I'll have my premium Major League Baseball plays locked and loaded as we look for another winning day. You can jump on those single plays, or my Major League Baseball 3-pack for just $49.99. And of course, every 3-pack and every individual play comes with our Pick Dawgz win guarantee that states you must profit or receive an immediate site credit for the purchase price. In addition, well, we got a reprieve in tonight's preseason football game. It's so bizarre, this Hall of Fame game. I mean, how many times? 6 times now this game has been canceled. Granted, 4 of those times it was not anything to do with Canton. It was because of the lockout and then with COVID. But it seems like, in addition to that, there was 100 different delays in this game. So anyway, preseason football underway. In a week, we'll have a full slate, so that's what we're really looking forward to. And thank you so much to everybody who's jumped on board an all-access pass. And that means you get every play I release, from Major League Baseball to the National Football League to the upcoming college football season, NHL, NBA this time next year in Major League Baseball. If you get that annual pass, jump on that all-access pass, and you can do that for less than a year. For the next 30 days for less than $11 a day, the next 90 days for less than $10 a day, or better yet, that annual all-access pass that will give you every play I release for just $3.70 a day. As we talked about, we're just, what now? I'm going through this, looking at this calendar. We're 1 week away from the full slate of the NFL matchups and 23 days away from college football. I do have my preseason package locked and loaded on Pickdawgz.com. Every play just $199.99. And of course, last year, college and the NFL, we were combined 4,000 units of profit. That is by far number one on the website. So please don't make sure that you don't miss out in 2024. We're rolling our sleeves up. We're getting to work. Here's your free plays for Friday. Remember, these are probable pitchers, so please confirm before making your wager. 2:20 Eastern Time, rotation number 951, 952. We have the St. Louis Cardinals on the road against the Chicago Cubs. Eric Fetty against Javier Assad. Looks like St. Louis, a small road favorite, minus $1.09, 7.5, under minus 15. As usual, we are going to deal with the wind in this one. Of course, it's being played out regularly during the day, but I wish I could tell you that it's blowing out. It's not. It appears that midway through the game, or maybe a little bit earlier, we're going to be dealing with gusts around 10 miles an hour, but that's going to be blowing in from left field. Again, the total already factors this in, so don't all of a sudden think, oh, I'm going to get one up on the man, because the man has already factored it in to the total. We are on the total on this one, but there has been one sizable wager on the Cubs, minus $1.05 at BetMGM in Michigan. These wagers typically have not had a good history at this property when it is the trigger property for these kind of bets. So keep that in mind if you're looking at the side in this one. Overall, 55% of the money's on the Cardinals, but 65% of the tickets are on Chicago. As far as the total is concerned, 90% of the money is on the over, along with 94% of the tickets. Former UNLV star Eric Fetty is going to be making his first start for the St. Louis Cardinals after putting together a pretty impressive 7-4 season, a 3.11 ERA. Over his last 2 starts, though, Fetty has allowed 5 earned runs in 10 1/3 innings. That's a 4.36 ERA. Javier Assad, 5-3, 3.23 ERA. He's allowed 10 earned runs over his previous 16 innings pitched. That's a 5.63 ERA. Neither pitcher going in a direction that we would want them to if we want to bet the under. It also should be pointed out that Assad has allowed 10 walks, 5 homers, 7 Ks in those 6 innings. Not good numbers. We're going to go over the 7.5 minus $1.02. Game number 2, 6:40 Eastern Time, 9:53, 9:54. Arizona Diamondbacks minus $1.31 on the road, 8.5 under minus 15 at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brandon fought against Luis Ortiz. This is a return series from last week where the Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3 from the Pirates in Arizona. I was a little surprised to see this number, and sometimes I think the odds makers are putting an emphasis on a betting aspect that I'm just not looking at, or there's an injury that they know about. And believe me, guys, I know guys that do this for a living that do nothing but try to find out injuries from teams. That is a fact, and it's an absolute legal process, and they work for the casino. So I know that happens. So when I see this number, sometimes I think, well, maybe they know something that I don't, because we hear people say that a lot. That is true. I have a lot to do and a lot of factors. These guys just take care of injuries. So I do listen sometimes when I look at a number and it seems a little bit wrong. But there are other times when I think odds makers are making a mistake, and I think this is one of them. Fought is 5-6 this year, a 3.92 ERA. He was smashed by the Pirates in his last start, allowed 5 earned runs, 7 hits, and a homer in 6 innings. Diamondbacks did win that game 9-5. And I think Luis Ortiz is a guy that flies under the radar, and honestly, he almost flew under the Pirates' radar early in the season. Had it not been for injuries, we really wouldn't have known how good Ortiz would be as a starter. But he's 5-2. He has a 2.75 ERA. Over his last 5 starts, Ortiz has allowed 5 earned runs in 25 2/3 innings. That's a 1.75 ERA, and this is a revenge spot after he gave up 3 earned runs in 5 innings against the Snakes last week. That was the loss to Zach Gallen. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus $1.20 here. And then game number 3, 9:38. I'm sorry, I still don't have my voice back. But game number 3, 9:38 Eastern Time, 9:75, 9:76. New York Mets minus $1.33, 9 under minus 15 on the road against the Los Angeles Angels. Paul Blackburn against Tyler Anderson. Paul Blackburn, unnecessary deal for the Mets, and we get to see how his contributions will impact the New York Mets. Of course, they lost Christian Scott. They lost Kodai Senga to injuries, and we'll see if Blackburn himself can stay healthy, because that's been a problem for him this year. He's battled that right foot injury, but so far they're getting a start, and New York feels like they're getting a guy that's going to help them down the stretch. He's a former All-Star, not a guy that throws hard, but he is a ground ball pitcher, so the Mets probably like that about him. Tyler Anderson, 8-9, a 2.96 ERA, but has allowed 8 earned runs over his last 18 2/3 innings. That's a 3.86 ERA and 4.02 over his last 5 games. The Mets have won 7 of the last 10 games and have not lost a series in their last 8. Now, they've split series, but they have not outright lost a series in 8 straight series, I guess. I don't want to say series too many times, but the last 8 series they have not lost. We're going to take the Mets minus $1.33 as your last free play. And before we go, I got this question on YouTube today, and it's a great question. I love these questions. You guys are really thinking outside the box, and I think now that we have other sports coming up, I think we'll get a lot more of those really in-depth questions that I could dig into. But the question goes is this: as far as betting or handicapping early football games is concerned, is there any stats / evidence that road sides find it harder to win in altitude early in the season, say first month compared to the season as a whole? Do teams find it harder to win in Denver, in the NFL, or at Wyoming, or against the Colorado Buffaloes, or any other team at significant altitude early in the season in the NFL and college football? Well, here's your answer to that. First 4 weeks when games are being played in high altitude, and here's our top 3 high altitude teams in the NFL. Denver, of course, we know is number 1, 5,280 feet. Arizona, 1,070, and then it drops down to Atlanta, 997. Now, I didn't go through Atlanta because they're really bunched in there with a bunch of teams, so altitude's not that big of a factor, and I really don't think it's that big of a factor in Arizona. I think Denver is the one place where we can say altitude is a factor, but I did do the numbers for Arizona regardless. So, in the preseason, Denver is 16-19-1 overall, and that's their last 36 games at home. 4-4 ATS the last 5 years in Denver. Arizona 15-21 ATS in their last 36 games. 4-5 ATS over the last 5 years. So not a big advantage for Denver or Arizona when they play at home in the preseason. Now the regular season, we'll break it down weeks 1 through 4. Denver is 4-8 ATS, 4-8-1 ATS since 2018. Arizona, weeks 1 through 4, 5-6 ATS since 2018. And again, not a big advantage there, and there's a reason why. Same reason I explained a little bit earlier in the video. Now we'll go to college football. Wyoming Cowboys, 72. Now this is the highest elevation that any team plays at. Wyoming, 7,270 feet over sea level. Is that the way you say it? Okay. Weeks 1 through 4 at Wyoming, 38, 34, and 2, plus 1.39 units, small profit, but that's over there 74. You can do the math. 13, 14 years. 11, 2, and 7 ATS since, or 11, 7, and 2 rather. ATS since 2019. That's a good mark for Wyoming. Air Force, 6,600 feet. Weeks 1 through 4, 41, 31, and 1, plus 7.60 units, 24 and 16 ATS since 2014. Colorado State, 5,000 feet. Weeks 1 through 4, 35, 37, and 2 ATS, 9 and 15 ATS since 2018. So the answer to your question is no, elevation does not have a factor. And the reason being, as we mentioned before, the number already factors it in. So Denver gets a little bit of push when they are playing at home. Wyoming gets a little bit of a push, especially when they're playing teams that are not used to that elevation at home. Air Force, same thing as Colorado State. Now the difference is Air Force has had a good team, and that's really the difference between all of these teams. Denver, Arizona, Colorado State, Wyoming, not very good teams, at least not consistently. Air Force has been very consistent, so I think to me it's more about the quality of the team that's playing at the higher elevation versus just being an elevation that's higher than normal. So no, nothing here really as far as the elevation is concerned, but it was really fun to go through it and look at it. And what we have found is maybe you do want to jump on Air Force those first 4 weeks of the year, but Air Force has been pretty good ATS for a long time, even past the first 4 weeks of the season. If there's anything you'd like me to research, please drop me a comment on the YouTube channel. I'll get to it as soon as I can, if I have the numbers as well. And that does it for your Friday free plays and handicapping tip of the day. Please go to pickdawgz.com. Get involved with one of my many available packages, including my all-access pass that gives you every play I release for one low price. And of course, we just jumped over the first of the month, so that means every package that I have on the website is absolutely been prorated. So if you didn't like the price last month, go back and check those out now, because I have season packages that have been reduced. I have all access passes that have been reduced. So go check those out. Jump on board. Football is coming. We smashed it last year. Do not don't miss out in 2024. Still, tomorrow I hope I can talk. Everybody who knows me loves it this way. I don't talk very much, but hopefully I can talk tomorrow. Here's your Friday free play recap. St. Louis, Chicago over 7.5 minus $1.02. Pittsburgh plus $1.20, and New York Mets minus $1.33. That does it for today's show. Thank you to everyone for watching. For Against the Public, I'm Dana Lane. All the best to you and your wagers on Friday.